Good morning, everyone. Well, we saw storms move over southeast Nebraska last night with some heavy rain and lightning and even some quarter-size hail in spots. And we expect the same thing to happen again this evening. The problem is it looks like the storms that form this evening are going to be a little bit stronger. But we do have quite some time before things get interesting. Let's start at 8 a.m. this morning and completely dry and pretty mild temperatures, upper 50s, low 60s, most common, but even a few spots in the mid 60s at 8 a.m. And I think it's going to be about 4 o'clock that we hit our high temperatures. And notice, even at 4 o'clock, looks dry. And I think most of us are going to be seeing temperatures upper 70s, low 80s. There's not going to be much wind, just a light breeze, gusts around 15 miles per hour. But it is worth noting, look at the northwestern part of the area, Fremont, Columbus, York, Grand Island. Notice a little bit cooler. High temperatures may just reach the low to mid 70s. Not a cold front yet, but one that's getting close, so we might already see some influence of that cold front in the northwestern part of the area. Right now, it looks like the time that showers and storms will begin to pop up is going to be about 6 o'clock. See those couple of green dots showing up around the Omaha area? So there may not be very much going on at 6 o'clock, but this is when I think the showers and storms will begin to fire up. And then once they begin to fire up, I think they're going to spread very quickly, because look what happens when we go from 6 o'clock this afternoon to 8 o'clock in the evening. In just 2 hours, look at that line of storms developing. Now the question exactly where is this line of storms going to set up? And the reason I'm showing this model is there are a few more models that say the line is going to set up east of Lincoln. That said, I do want to make it clear there are still models saying that it could set up west of Lincoln. But based on the latest trends, I do have to say, though there's a chance of storms and severe storms for all of southeast Nebraska, there is a slightly better chance, it looks like, in the eastern half of the area, east of Lincoln. The chance for severe storms is smaller west of Lincoln, just based on the timing of this front and the time when these storms are going to fire up. And it does look like the peak of the activity is probably going to be 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock this evening. Not only are we talking about heavy rain and lightning, but unfortunately, within this line, some hail, some damaging wind, and could there be a tornado? Though the chance is low, unfortunately, I cannot rule it out. Here's 10 o'clock, and again, the front trying to push east, but there are also indications that it may temporarily stall out over us. So, though I think the severe threat is definitely going to drop by the time we get to midnight, look what happens in the most southeastern part of the area. I think for most of us, the front is going to be clear, but because it may stall out in the most southeastern part of the area, look at the redevelopment around 2 a.m. So I do have to mention, after midnight, I still have to keep a small chance for severe storms in there. Nebraska City, Beatrice, down to Falls City. But it does look like by 4 a.m., the front starts moving again, and it'll finally be clear even of the most southeastern part of the area by 4 a.m. And look how the temperatures have now come down everywhere. But once again, still seeing the coldest temperatures to the north and west. So to summarize the severe threat, again, beginning as early as 6 o'clock this afternoon, and again, possibly as late as 4 a.m., mainly in the southeastern part of the area. There is a good chance of storms. Again, there's still that uncertainty in exactly where the line sets up, and I will say there's a better chance of storms and better chance of severe storms east of Lincoln than west of Lincoln, but only even the chance for everyone in southeast Nebraska. And the biggest thing I'm concerned with, of course, heavy rain and lightning. Anytime we're talking about chance of severe storms, heavy rain and lightning, of course, looking common in that line of storms. But as far as the severe threat, the biggest thing I'm worried about is hail, especially early on, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, when we still have the warmest temperatures. We could definitely see penny, nickel-size hail, and I've got to mention the possibility up to golf ball-size hail. That is a possibility, so we'll say it's a medium-high threat for hail. Damaging wind doesn't look as likely as hail, but certainly a possibility, and I'm not going to rule out gusts as high as 60 miles per hour, so we'll call it a medium threat. The chance for tornadoes is low, and we're not talking about big tornadoes. It would be an EF0 or EF1 tornado if one was to spin up. saying that you don't want to play it down, because if an EF0 or EF1 tornado spins up, you're still talking about winds around 100 miles per hour, which could do significant damage. But again, because it's more of a line rather than it looks like individual supercells, the chance for tornadoes is not high, but do have to mention it as a possibility. And then the one last thing I do have to mention, I'm least concerned about it, but I got to mention it because of that redevelopment, because the front may temporarily stall out. I think most of us, again, there is a possibility in the western part of the area, some could miss out on the storms. Most of us probably looking at a half an inch or an inch of rain, but there is the possibility that a few spots could see up to 2 inches of rain. And if that 2 inches of rain falls in a low-lying or poorly drained location, then yes, we could see some flooded roads.